Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark from Solar Games, and for this last video, we are going to do the Tyranid deck. This is probably my second most looking forward to playing deck. I do like the Tyranids a lot because when I was playing StarCraft, I was a big Zerg player, so this is the Zerg, basically, or at least where the concept of the Zerg basically came from. I know Blizzard Entertainment will probably never admit to that, but yes, they did rip off 40K for sure to get all these ideas and stuff. But yeah, so this is your kind of like swarm lords and all sorts of crazy stuff. So that's this deck. What I suspect is going to happen, again, I haven't even really looked at the deck list at all, but I suspect this deck is going to be full of creatures, and then basically the ability to consume dead creatures and then do something with them. That's my guess, something like that. Let's see. Okay, so let's zoom in and then we'll get into it. Okay, so we got the Swarm Lord as our Tyranid. So Tyranid is kind of like almost like Sliver in that sense that they don't really have like a stable leader, so they kind of just they're all one gigantic hive mind, right? So yeah, that's why the Storm Lord is just Storm Lord. He doesn't really have like a crazy name with him. Okay, so legendary creature, Tyranid, 3 green, blue, and red. Rapid regeneration. The Storm Lord enters battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it for each time you've cast this commander from the command zone. So basically, he gets stronger every time you cast him. Xenos Cunning. Whenever a creature you control with counter on it dies, draw a card. So Storm Lord is all about you kind of want him to die, I guess, right? And then whenever he dies, he or any other creature with counters on it dies, then you draw cards. So it's not too bad. I can already tell why this deck is probably going to be the weaker deck, and the reason I think is because most decks that are like more creature focused tend to be weaker, especially if they're Tron focused like this. So you cast it, somebody says, hey, you know, that's a 9/9, whatever, kill it on sight type of thing. So yeah, but I do like the fact that he gets stronger. You know, so every time you commander attacks, he does get a little bit better. So it never feels like you're paying attacks. It's almost like you're getting a better version, so it's not too bad. Your alternate commander is Magnus Lucia Kane, spiritual leader. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Yep. Okay, so lots of counter actually. Psychic Stimulus, tap, add 2 whenever you cast your next spell with X in its mana cost or activate ability with X in activation cost this turn. Copy that spell or ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Wow, that seems really strong. So you can copy abilities and X spells and X abilities. Okay. Gene Stealer Locus. Okay. Whenever creature you control attacks, gains +1, -1. Okay, when creatures attack you, they get weaker. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, oh, so okay, yeah. So basically, you're helping creatures get stronger and encouraging them to attack your opponents. Okay, Heavy Rock Cutter, Tyranid Human. Okay, so this dude cuts rocks. Whenever Acolyte Hybrid attacks, destroy up to 1 target artifact. If the artifact is destroyed this way, its controller draws a card. Okay, so on attack, you can destroy artifacts and draw a card. So that's pretty good, right? Because I mean, you can do this and destroy a bunch of key Necrons. Aberrant, okay. Ravenous, this creature enters battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. If X is 5 or more, draw a card when it enters. Okay. All right. Trample, Heavy Power Hammer. Whenever Aberrant deals combat damage to a player, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or enchantment that player controls. Okay. Yeah. So lots of artifact, enchantment, destruction. Lots of ways to get in there for damage. Pierce Strain, Gene Stealer enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. Vanguard Species. Whenever Pure Strain Gene Stealer attacks, you may remove a 1/1 counter from it. If you do, search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. Okay, so it's kind of nice. This is your Fertilid, basically. Tyranid Invasion, create a number of 3/3 green Tyranid warrior tokens with trample equal to the number of opponents you have. Yep. So they have their equivalent opponent one. Trigon Prime, creature Tyranid, sub-terrain assault. Whenever Trigon Prime attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it and a 1/1 counter on up to one other target attacking creature. That creature can't be blocked this turn. Okay, cool. So, kind of sneak a bunch of things in. Venom Thrope, Flying Death of Trample Hex Proof. Okay, so basically gives you a pretty strong creature that you can pump up with all the counters and ways to do that. Goliath Truck, okay. Stowage, whenever Goliath Truck attacks, put 2 1/1 counters on another target attacking creature. Okay, so you attack with it and then get more. So lots of attacking, it looks like. Okay, Aetherize, yep. Return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. Yep. Inspiring Call, okay. All right, so why do we have like Hull Breach? Okay, why do we have rarity for like precons? Doesn't make any sense. Harrow's Horn, huh? Okay, nice. So that's good for this deck for sure. Soul Ring, okay, so this one is a Tyranid. It's got like a little Tyranid in there. That's nice. Ash Barons, okay. Frontier, Biovac. Alright. Unclaimed Territory. Cultivate. Yep. Explore. Farseek. Yep, good card, useful. Alright. Harrow, yes. Wow, okay. So a lot of good ramp staples. That's cool. New Horizon. Wow, it's just more and more ramping. Wow, Overgrowth too. Whew, okay. Nice. Rampant Growth. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Does it have like Sky Shroud Claim? It doesn't have it. Okay, cool. Arcane Signet. Wow, that's actually a really sweet Arcane Signet. So it's you see this like a human hand turning into a Tyranid hand. Cave of Temptation. Command Tower. Yep, so these are the spires. The late stages of Tyranid invasion were vast capillary towers funnel biomass to hive ships waiting in orbit. So when a Tyranid basically takes over a planet, they build these like capillary spires that basically takes all the bioessence, which is like, think about like resources from the planet. It could be really anything up into the ship, which then they could make more Tyranids. Gene Stealer Patriarch. Okay, Gene Stealer's Kiss. Whenever Gene Stealer Patriarch attacks, put an infection counter on target creature defending player controls. Children of the Cult. Whenever a creature with an infection counter on it dies, you create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a Tyranid in addition to other types. So, yeah. I guess the problem is like you have to attack and risk all of your creatures, which is really tricky. So you have to figure out ways to attack and get them in. So I'm sure there's going to be like artifacts in here that probably helps you do that, or lands, right? Okay, Ravenous, yep. Okay, deals X damage, yep. The Red Terror. Advanced Species. Whenever red source you control deals combat damage, deals damage to one or more opponents and or players, put a 1/1 counter on the Red Terror. Screamer Killer. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Trample, Bioplasma, Plasmic Scream. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 5 or greater, deals 5 to any target. So also, I guess so you want to go lots and lots of mana, and then you should be casting all these expensive spells. Biophage, Phagus, Genetic Enhancement, tap, add 1 mana of any color. If mana is spent to cast a creature spell, that creature enters the battlefield with additional 1 counter on it. Cool. This is useful. This is just mana dork that gets more counters. Bone Sabers, equipment, whenever equipped creature attacks, put 4, 1/1 counters on it. Wow, so this some crazy counter stuff. Is there a doubling season here? Broodlord, okay. Whenever Broodlord enters battlefield, distribute X 1/1 counters among any number of other target creatures you control. Cool. Okay, Proclaim Hailer. Each creature you control with gets +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on it. Oh, just straight up. Okay, so they just sticks around for a long time. So this is kind of like a doubling season, but on a creature, it's okay, I guess. All right, specs. Whenever another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on specs. Devouring monster, tap, remove X 1 counters from specs. Add X mana to one color. Wow, pretty strong. So there's just ways to really get a ton of mana to cast all your crazy. Okay, here's all the crazy stuff. All right, Hierophant Bile Titant. It's a 10 green for a 12/12. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may remove any number of 1/1 counters from among creatures you control. Okay, so counters can also cast a spell, basically. Vigilance, Reach, Ward 2. Titanic. This can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Yeah, so it's a gigantic creature. Not a dinosaur, just Tyranid. Okay. Horde, Ravenous, Endless Swarm. Whenever land enters battlefield under your control, you may pay 2 and a green. If you do, return this thing from the graveyard to your hand. So another thing I realized, because they have a lot of... actually, you know what? I'll talk about it at the end. Yeah. Lictor, yes. Flash. Pheromone Trail. Whenever Lictor enters the battlefield, if a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control this turn, create a 3/3 green Tyranid warrior creature token with trample. Alright. Okay. Seems okay. It's not that great. Nexos. Strategic Coordinator. Basic lands you control have tap, add colorless. Spend this mana only on costs that contain X. So X spells, you can just get more from mana. That's cool. Old One Eye. Trample. Other creatures you control have trample. When Old One Eye enters the battlefield, create a 5/5 green Tyranid creature token. Fast healing. At the beginning of your pre-combat phase, you may discard 2 cards. If you do, return Old One Eye from your graveyard to your hand. You still have to cast them, so kind of annoying, but yeah. Okay. Sporocyst. Okay, Ravenous, Defender, Spore Chimney. Whenever Sporocyst enters the battlefield, search your library for up to X basic lands, put them onto the battlefield, tap, and shuffle. Okay, yeah, so, man, even more ways to ramp. So this is going to be pretty crazy. Like, if you get the right cards and you ramp hard, your deck can really go off because you can have all these, like, crazy X spells. Yeah. Okay, when Terminus Swarm dies, create a number of 1/1 green Tyranid equal to power. Wow. Okay, so you get this thing out there, you can build an army. Okay. Turvigon. Trample. Spawn terminates. Whenever Tyranid goes combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1. Oh wow, that's really strong. So you pump this guy up and just basically go super wide with Tyranids. Yeah, so like I said, as you can see with the last 2 cards, I mean, you can get pretty crazy with the amount of Tyranid warriors you can get. Tyranid creatures. Toxicrin, all lands have add 1 mana of any color and lose all other abilities. Okay, wait, all lands. Ah, everybody, cool. Nice, so you can really screw them up, and then basically, sure, you can tap for multicolor. Hopefully that's useful, Necron. Yeah, with your monocolor, you don't really care. Tyrant Guard, okay. Shield Wall. Sacrifice Tyrant Guard. Creatures you control with counters on them gain hexproof and indestructible. Okay, so you got your little, what's it called? Man, what's that card with Johnny on it? That's hexproof and indestructible. Okay, Atalan Jackal. So you have a human Tyranid Scout. Skilled Outrider. Whenever Outland Jackal deals combat damage to a player, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, and shuffle. Okay. Death Leaper, Terror Weapon, Flash Haste. Creatures you control enter the battlefield this turn have double strike. Whoa. Wait. Creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn have double strike. Creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn have double strike forever? I mean, but I guess it's just for this turn, right? Like, but that's not really useful. That works for him. Creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn have double strike. Until end of turn. Is it until end of turn? Okay. The first Tyrannic War. Okay. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If its mana cost contains X, it enters the battlefield with a number of X of 1/1 counters on it equal to the number of lands you control. Oh wow! So you just get that X for free. That's fine. Double the number of each kind of counter on target creature you control, and do that again. Wow. Yeah. They couldn't print doubling season for this. It's too much. But otherwise, yeah, this is perfect deck for doubling season. Gargoyle Flock. Flying, Sky Swarm. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, create a 1/1 blue Tyranid Gargoyle creature with flying. All right. Okay. Grayson Starn. Okay. Ward 2. 3 auto stubs. Whenever another source you control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent or creature or player, so whenever you do 1 damage, he deals 2 damage to that permanent or creature. So there's 3 damage total. That's kind of cool. Melanthrope. Flying, Scavenge Dead. Whenever Melanthrope enters battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. Put a 1/1 counter on Melanthrope for each creature card exiled this way. So there's a lot. I mean, everybody can exile graveyards. So that's pretty cool. Moloch. Okay, Terror from the Deep. When he enters battlefield, fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Wow. So he just goes in there, kills somebody, and then, yeah. Ravener. Whenever Ravener attacks. So all these Tyranids have Ravenous. So they just come in with, you pay a bunch more mana, and then they just become bigger. Okay. Whenever Ravener enters battlefield, target creature attacks target opponent this turn if able. Okay. Shadow in the Warp. Okay. The first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, Shadow in the Warp deals 2 damage to that player. Okay, so yeah, lots of good stuff for creatures. And if you're not playing creatures, then take some damage. Tyranid Harridan, Flying, Ward 4, Shrieking Gargoyles. Whenever Tyranid Harridan or another Tyranid you control deals combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 blue gargoyle. Okay, so dealing combat damage. Oh man, yeah. So you're gonna get gargoyles. You're gonna get Tyranid creatures. Tyranid Prime, nice. Evolve. Okay. Yeah. Synapse creature. Other creatures you control have evolve. Whoa, that's pretty cool. So he comes in. Everybody gets evolve. And now you're playing, now your counters also change. I wish that was the commander. That's a really interesting commander, actually, right? You play this guy, and then you play more and more creatures that can. Okay, yeah. Flying haste, the will of the hive mind. Other creatures you control with counters on them have flying and haste. Wow, that's pretty cool too. And you already know all your Tyranids have counters, so this is just like, straight up good. Warp Blast. Whenever Zone Thrope enters battlefield, deals X damage to any target. Yep, so it's that. Starstorm. Starstorm deals X to each creature, cycling 3. Abundance. Okay. Alright. Are these yeah, so these are the normal stuff. Yep, here you go. Yeah, I saw it, right? Death Presence, Hardened Scales, of course. So, yeah, no doubling season, but you do get a Hardened Scale, so that's kind of nice. And that's pretty on theme, right? Because Tyranids have really thick armor. Icon of Ancestry. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. They're all kind of like hovering over this thing. Cinderglade, yep. Okay, Exotic Orchard. Game Trail. Anyways, I think what I was saying earlier is, what's the point of having rarity symbols for pre-con deck? It really doesn't make sense. Yeah. And just seems like such a waste. You don't really need it for that purpose, right? Wow, Path of Ancestry almost in every deck. That's kind of cool. Ragged Highlands, yep. Terramorphic Expand. So every deck has a Terramorphic and a Evolving Wilds. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Command Tower. So all your basics, Command Sphere, right? They're all in there. So it's nice. Cool. That's the Tyranid deck. Should be kind of fun. Basically, I guess sounds like pretty early game. You want to go ramp up as much mana as possible. And then once you get enough mana, then you start casting these gigantic creatures that also draw you more cards. So you really want Ravenous 5 so you can actually draw a card on it too. Yeah, should be fun. Let's see how it plays though. So I'm really looking forward to playing all these decks. And yeah, so this is going to be it for me, Mark Solar Games, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.